Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, Reading Ideas. Thank you for everybody who's put a vote on the logo. So I will slip it in to this video so you can see which one we've all gone with. Yeah, shared responsibility. I've got a couple of issues with posting on the channel at the moment. The first one is that I'm just getting towards the end of 750 pages of Can You Forgive Her by Anthony Trollope. So I'll have a review of that coming up. So I don't read as many pages a day as quite a few people, so it's taken me a while to kind of get through that. The second issue is that I've been tagged in a few book tags which I've thought of doing, but I'm trying to read a few more books so that I'm not saying the same answers too often. When I feel I'm kind of saying, Hemingway, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Count of Monte Cristo. If I'm saying the same books for each one, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, so I'm trying to read a few more books. So if it takes me a while to get around to a tag, I can but apologise. On to today's book recommendation. Now, here's a little thought for you before we get on to today's recommendation. Let's talk about the birds and the bees. Well, mainly the bees. So it could be that, you only read westerns, you only read horror, you only read romance, you only read classics. But let's take a lesson from the bees. So if a bee finds, I was watching this the other day, if a bee finds a great patch, a great source of, flowers, pollen, an area for collecting pollen, it will go back to the hive and it will tell all the other bees where this patch is, do a wiggle dance and show the direction. And then because the bees are, a bit drone-like, they follow orders and they go off and, they, go to that source. However, if every bee was to do that, then the hive would kind of get stuck. What would happen after that? So 20% of the bees are free to ignore that order and go wandering wherever they, whether they wish to roam. And, so that, that strategy gets the source, cleaned out, if you like, or used. And but they also have the optionality of finding other places. So that's always there in case something better comes along, in case the old place, for want of a better, the access to it, goes, or it runs out, or something happens, the grass is mown, who knows. So they leave that option open. Not quite finished. DNA. When a man and a lady get together and have a little baby, the DNA that's passed on from the parents, it's copied across to the child, the DNA. However, in the copying across, apparently there is a minor replication error, a chance incorrect copying across. Sometimes that doesn't work out, but it creates an optionality. Now, it's only a minor variation, so the chances are that they're not that different from the parents, so they should be able to survive in the same environment that the parent has been in. But in that replication error coming across, there could be something that genetically enables them to thrive a little bit more in the environment than their parents, to reproduce more than their parents. So that replication error is what I'm trying to talk about. That's a long way round for saying that perhaps every now and again we should try something a bit different. So this could be something a little bit different for you. I would say technically it's a self-help book. It's It's called It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be. The world's best-selling book by Paul Arden. Now, the problem that I find with self-help books is they get a bit repetitive. They say they're kind of the same kind of things, but jazz it up in a different way, but make exactly the same points. But this is quite good. So I'll introduce the book to you in his own words, and then you can see what it's about. So this is his main point straight away. Nearly all rich and powerful people are not notably talented, educated, charming, or good-looking. They become rich and powerful by wanting to be rich and powerful. Your vision of where or who you want to be is the greatest asset you have. Without having a goal, it's difficult to score. And that's the nature of the book. It's basically saying you need to set a standard, you need to aim high. Right, let's have a little look. So, how good do you want to be? Yeah. Ordinary. Good. Is that a ballerina? Very good. I don't know who that is. That might be a younger him. The best in your field. That's him. In his top marketing job. He's got his business suit. He's got his ridiculous dog. He's got his, different spectacles to other people. The best in the world. Napoleon. And yeah, so it's all of us want to be good at our jobs, but how good do we really want to be? And then there's a picture of a plinth there, an empty plinth. It could be you. So it's really quite good. It's just inspirational pictures in there. Now I'll read this one. This is quite an interesting one. This struck me a little bit. Victoria Beckham. I want to be as famous as Purcell Automatic. Victoria Beckham. As a teenager, Victoria Beckham's ambition was not just to be better than her mates or even be a famous singer, but to become a world brand. She not only dreamed about it, but wanted it enough to go about getting it. That in itself makes her different from most of us. It is not how good she was that mattered. It's how good she wanted to be. What is interesting in her quote is that she didn't compare herself with George Michael or Mariah Carey. Rather, she saw the fame of Purcell Automatic as her yardstick. Laugh at it as you may, it is this highly original imagination that got her where she is today. Now, it is good. I'll say why in a second, but just pause a second. Now you might think, but what's the alternative? How are you not necessarily becoming Napoleon, but most people go into a company, work in a company. They'll be there, they'll have come in with the education background that they've come in, with a degree, without a degree, A-levels, without A-levels. And what happens is that you'll see bosses, and a couple of things to think about. Firstly, when you first start, one of the bosses will quietly come up to you. Oh, how are you getting on? You're okay? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden they'll just slip in. So what are your plans? Where are you thinking of being in a couple of years? Bang. Now, there'll be some people that'll go, well, I want to get ahead. I want to do this. I want to be in marketing. I want to be at this level. I want to move up. And in 4 years' time, I'm thinking of this, and I want to be, I want to set up my own business. I want your job, whatever. And other people will say, well, I'm not quite sure. I'm just settling in yet. Those bosses are very, very busy. You could say lazy, nasty, whatever you want to think. But they make their mind up like that and and it will stick forever. You know, they will hear one little snippet in the office. Oh, such and such a body's really good, or such and such a body's, not so good, or such and such a body's. Oh, they're late. Oh, yeah, they're lazy. Or, oh, yeah, that's a coming person. It could be based on the flimsiest little thing, and it will stick. But that's a bit of a question from your boss. Who are they? They want to pigeonhole you so that they can move on. Right, they're ambitious. Right, they're ambitious, logged. They're not ambitious, logged. So just watch out for that. Now, the other thing you might say, well, that's if someone's got it in them, they'll work their way up. I have seen loads and loads of people. I've been in loads of offices where the staff will all act on their own level. They'll all talk, oh, that boss is terrible. Oh, they're terrible, blah, blah, blah. How did they get to be a boss? But they're accepting in their mind that that's where they are. They're accepting in their mind that there will be a boss above them. They're accepting in their mind that their daily lot is going to go backwards and forwards at the whim of this boss. And they'll say, oh, they're an idiot. This book can kind of gives you that kind of prompt, rather than to saying, well, I don't really want to apply to be a boss because I'm not quite sure whether I'd be good enough or not, and I don't think, who am I to be bossing other people around? Done, gone. Those people that are bosses are probably there because they've breezed past all that. I'll be a boss. Half the bosses are idiots, so why shouldn't I be a boss? Yeah, is another way to look at it. But if I read this, because I'm trying to write, trying to be a writer, got lots of projects on the go, and you read this and you're like, whoa, come on, let's get it done. Whoa, nothing's stopping in my way. Get out of the way. In a nice way, of course. Worth a try. Because it isn't how good you are, it's how good you want to be.